This is Just a Thought, Episode 2, a podcast for parents ready to change their mind and change their lives. This podcast is packed full of the one thing that will change your life, your parenting, and your relationships. Don't believe me? It's just a thought. This is your host, Christina Stead, and this is Episode 2, Believe What You Will. Hi friends, thanks for sharing this space with me today. I decided I'd better start with my second podcast first today because of indecision, I vacillated for a long time, many a night, trying to pinpoint the most effective and inspiring podcast topic to represent and stand as my first grand opening podcast. It's hard to just start out in a sprint of awesomeness, but it felt important to me to start things off right. So important, in fact, that no topic seemed good enough to fill that special spot. So I procrastinated and felt undecided. Indecision is a familiar enemy of mine. One night, my husband finally said to me, "Why don't you just start with your second podcast first, since you can't decide on your first?" And that was strangely helpful. I just needed to change the way I was thinking about this whole podcast thing. So without further ado, our topic of the day, my second podcast, standing in for the first, believe what you will. The thoughts I hope to leave with you today, in hopes that they will change your life for good, are first, your thoughts are creating your beliefs. Your thoughts and your beliefs are creating your feelings, and your feelings are creating your results. So, in a nutshell, your thoughts are creating your results. Not your parents, not your spouse, not your children or coworkers, and not even God is creating your results. You determine your results. God gave you the gift of agency, and He gave you permission to choose your thoughts, your beliefs, and by consequence, your results. This is fantastic news because, as you probably know, if it's just a thought, you can change your mind. And what I'm here to tell you is when you intentionally change your mind, you will change your life. If you're not familiar with life or emotional coaching, the Life Coach School, or awesome coaches like Jody Moore and Brooke Castillo, both whom I adore, might sound like I'm being melodramatic, and you might not agree with me. That's totally okay for you to feel that way, but I want you to know I am being serious, and I will explain why I believe in this model. Before I do, the second thought I hope you will share with me by the end of this podcast is that you can believe whatever you want to. You are the master of your fate, and your beliefs are the boat that carries you to your destination. I feel like I just came up with that, and I'm sitting here thinking it's rather clever. But if I'm stealing someone else's quote, please let me know ASAP, and I'll give them credit. And if you think I'm full of baloney, that's okay. I've got your back, and this is a space where you can safely disagree with me, and I still love you. Either way, I really believe it. So let's address why I believe in the model that our thoughts determine our results. I was listening to the 100% Awesome podcast the other day, hosted by April Price, and she told a story that I feel illustrates this idea perfectly. She said that her daughter is living in China right now, and her birthday is this week. So April's father-in-law contacted her and asked for her daughter's address, most likely so he could send her something for her birthday. April realized she didn't have her daughter's address, and when she considered why she didn't have it, she realized that she didn't have the address because she had a subconscious belief that she couldn't send anything to China. That belief resulted in her never trying to send anything to China. It wasn't until her father-in-law, who obviously had a different belief, asked for the address that she even realized it was a belief, and interestingly, it was something she believed whether it was true or not. April also shared a great thought about how as humans, we tend to stick with our original thoughts, even when we have evidence that we are wrong. I found her thought super interesting. Look her up. April Price, 100% Awesome podcast. So are you considering the possibilities yet? Because April had the thought that she couldn't send anything to China, and her life experiences potentially led her to believe her thoughts were true, she never tried to send anything in the mail to her daughter in China, and her beliefs were justified. We do this to ourselves all the time, and honestly, it's only a problem if it's a problem. If we are constantly yelling, nagging, feeling resentful, angry, and ignored, and overall not experiencing the life we want, or even the life we think we should or could have, then it's time to start questioning what thoughts are holding us back. And once we start to pinpoint those thoughts, we need to compassionately and curiously ask, what if I'm wrong about that? What if that can be changed? Then what? And be open to new possibilities. Be open to letting your kids feel sad and not feeling like it's your job or anyone else's but theirs to make them feel happy. Be open to letting your house be messy tonight. Be open to sending mail to China. Because our thoughts are optional and we can change them on a whim, it logically follows that we can believe whatever we want. I like to believe what I feel serves me. Does it bring me joy? Does it bring me understanding? Does it help me feel connected? Does it help me feel love? Is it something that can make what I feel is essential also become more fun? When my beliefs help me feel these things I mention, I generally try to keep thinking those thoughts. And the thoughts I think over and over become my beliefs. When I realize that a belief I have is no longer serving me, it's motivating for me to think that all I have to do to change that belief is change the root thoughts. Now, obviously, as with anything else, this idea is easier said than understood. What about my religious beliefs, Christina, you might ask? I don't think those are just thoughts. And so I ask you, does everybody believe what you believe and see it as you see it? If the answer is no, then it's just a thought. And you have agency to decide what you want to think and believe, and you get to decide if it is serving you. I've come to find these thoughts empower my faith in God, in agency, and in the plan of salvation, and I hope it does the same thing for you too. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts too. This is Christina Stead, and this is Just a Thought.